Think about how we verify reality from thousands of miles away. You open up a digital map, start from a view of the entire globe, and zoom all the way down to a single street corner. To investigative journalists, human rights monitors, and disaster response teams, this global digital atlas is an absolute baseline for physical truth. It is the international standard for verifying what actually exists on the ground. If you compromise the integrity of those maps, you break the consensus on what is real and what is fake. On July 30, 2026, Google pushed an update that tested that exact boundary. They integrated their native image generation engine, Nano Banana 2, directly into Google Earth. Suddenly, the map became a canvas where users could type a prompt and generate synthetic concepts right over real-world coordinates. The original pitch focused on powerful educational tools. Take these volcanic ruins in Pompeii, for example. A user could type a prompt and instantly generate a historically accurate reconstruction of the city in 78 AD, mapped perfectly over the present-day stones. Or consider urban planning. A developer could take an empty concrete lot in a dense Tokyo neighborhood like this one and generate a fully rendered commercial retail space right into the existing street view. The goal was to take the limitless imagination of generative AI and lock it tightly within the rigid boundaries of real-world topography. Within hours of the launch, open-source intelligence analysts and tech journalists sounded an alarm. The safety guardrails were collapsing under basic scrutiny. Users were actively bypassing prompt filters to generate photorealistic satellite images of burning infrastructure, false terror strikes, and active military war zones. Look at this specific generation. One test case proved you could render a high-density, unauthorized nuclear power facility directly inside the geographical borders of Iran. The system output the image without triggering a single safety block or policy refusal. These localized crisis events flooded the social network X less than 24 hours after the feature became available to the public. By allowing users to overlay photorealistic destruction on top of verified map data, Google effectively turned a tool of record into a tool of speculation. To understand why these synthetic images were so dangerously convincing, we have to look at a mechanism called geospatial conditioning. When a user set a camera view, the system extracted the spatial geometry, ground cover textures, and 3D vectors. The AI architecture used this telemetry as a strict structural constraint, forcing the generated image to perfectly obey the physical layout of the real world. Normal text-to-image generators synthesize media inside an unconstrained, empty mathematical void called a latent space. They guess at physics and geometry. Nano Banana 2 didn't have to guess. Because the AI's output inherited genuine global telemetry, perfect road layouts, and accurate building footprints, human observers simply could not tell the difference between a synthetic anomaly and a genuine satellite feed. Google initially tried to protect the system with a standard text filter, using a blacklist of keywords related to warfare, violence, and physical destruction. But cybersecurity researchers defeated this using natural language circumvention. By subtly reframing their text prompts, they made destructive requests look completely benign to the AI parser, slipping right past the safety blocks. Even third-party verification failed. When researchers ran these synthetic satellite images through independent AI detection software, the tools were fooled by the true topography. This scanner readout shows a generated image scoring a 0.8% probability, categorizing the deepfake as authentic photography. You cannot secure a topographically accurate rendering engine with a simple word filter. Abstract text moderation fails when the visual output perfectly mimics reality. Google also relied on visual provenance, specifically a soft badge in the user interface and an imperceptible metadata watermark called SynthID injected straight into the pixels. Those protections evaporated the moment users shared the images online. Standard screen capturing and simple image cropping stripped away the visual UI badges with zero effort. That left only the invisible SynthID tag, which is entirely useless if social media scrapers and open-source forensic tools cannot actively detect it. On July 31st, a mere 24 hours after going live, Google executed an emergency global rollback and revoked the system's API across the board. They issued an official statement acknowledging the unique public trust placed in the Earth platform, confirming that users were generating and sharing imagery that directly violated their core safety policies. None of these generations ever permanently overwrote the shared global map database, but the sheer fact that an individual user could export and disseminate unverified local renders was catastrophic enough to force a total operational shutdown. Historically, manipulating overhead satellite imagery required specialized software, deep geospatial expertise, and hours of painstaking manual editing. Nano Banana 2 reduced that entire process to a single text prompt typed out in under 60 seconds. In high-stakes environments, bad actors can deploy those fast, cheap fakes to simulate border incursions, manipulate financial markets, or destabilize critical communications during a natural disaster. But the ultimate threat is a concept called epistemic ambiguity. If fake satellite images look exactly like real ones, then legitimate, genuine satellite evidence of human rights abuses or war crimes can simply be dismissed by dictators as AI-generated. When fakes are indistinguishable from the truth, authentic evidence loses its power to hold the world accountable. Before spatial generative tools ever return to platforms like this, engineering teams must build far stricter technical frameworks. That means permanent, uncroppable visual watermarks burned directly into the pixel canvas, and absolute restrictions blocking generation over active conflict zones and sensitive infrastructure. It also requires the mandatory integration of open cryptographic provenance standards, like C2PA, which instantly alert a web browser or a social media platform that a file has synthetic origins. Merging AI imagination with canonical ground truth leaves no clear path for verifying the physical world, unless strict cryptographic safeguards are built into the source.